Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Maize and Blue and Gold Show. It is me, your host, Phil M. Three Times Peters. I am here with the parents of Jerod and Jacob Smith, the four-star recruits out of Connecticut, Mr. Jacob Smith Sr., and his wife, Susan Stamper Smith here. How are you guys doing today?
Pretty good. It's Jerod Senior. The
Sorry, I'm
other
super sorry about that. Jerod, right. Um Jerod Smith and Susan Stamper Smith here, and we are waiting on Ryan, but in the meantime we'll get the questions going. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, first, how has this process been, just watching your children come up, I guess, through even Pop Warner to now?
it's been a blessing. I think they started playing football around the age of 3 or 4, flag football, and they haven't stopped uh, to this point. It's fun to watch them in Pop Warner. It's fun to watch them in middle school, and it's also fun to watch them in high school. It's just a little bit harder to watch them in high school with the whole prep ball scene.
Of course. Yeah. Um I'll take obviously, if you have questions in the comment section, please feel free to ask them. I'll try to get to as many as possible. I want to let you guys know ahead of time. However, I know that I saw an interview that maybe you did even a couple years ago when they were playing in Kentucky, I believe. And the top schools were a little different back then, right? Kentucky was really one of the schools at the top. Um, is it has it been that way, like a kind of a fluid situation with like the schools that are at the top for them?
Well, I never thought it would be at this point. When we lived in Kentucky, Somerset, Kentucky, we didn't have the none of the Division 1 schools, FBS schools, showing us any attention. The boys got recognized when they met when Coach Jeff Morey found them on Twitter and
Right.
on the Lumen Chafee, and he got them the exposure that they needed. And once they connected, they sort of exploded across America.
Absolutely. um this is Ryan, by the way. Ryan is the resident
Nice to meet
Notre
you.
Dame fan here on the channel. um but speaking of Notre Dame, and Ryan, I'll let you get a question in after this. Speaking of Notre Dame, I know at some point, and maybe even still for Jacob, and that they were involved in the recruiting and even considered one of the top schools. Is it a situation where you guys kind of give your input, or do you let the boys make these decisions on their own?
We do give input. They ask what we think, and we give them feedback, what we saw, what we think about the school. Of course, I'm heavy academics, so I'm always looking at the
Right.
school's, standards of academics, how they do, how many like graduates they produce out of sports, things of that nature. So, we do give input and feedback, but at the end of the day, it is definitely their decisions.
Absolutely. Ryan, what do you have?
So obviously, I know it was a big thing with them that both your boys wanted to originally commit on their birthdays together. So obviously, with Jared committing to Michigan a little early, um,
Gerard.
how did Jacob feel about that? Was he excited? Was he a little like, hey man, what are you doing, bro? Like you kind of caught me off guard, or was it like a decision that they had together, or what was that like?
Well, in the last 2 years, they have planned this whole elaborate plan of dropping the top 10 a certain day, dropping the top 5 a certain day, and then announcing on their birthday. And that was the plan. But when Gerard went on his visit to Michigan, 2 or 3 days later, he was just telling me, Dad, I think I'm going to commit. And I said, son, you do what you want to do. Kind of let me know when you're going to do it. So we're not surprised, and he made the call without his brothers. He told his brothers going to do it, but he didn't ask his brother to go ahead and commit with him. He just told his brother to commit, hopefully to the same school he committed to, when he had
Mhm.
to make that decision.
So with that being said, so it was kind of a surprise thing, after the visit. He just like felt, that this was that Michigan was the right place for him.
He did.
Okay.
Michigan came late in the game for Jerod, but Coach Elliston and I guess him and Jerod made a good connection. And then when we went on the visit, they was very surprised with Coach Herbert.
Right.
They fell in love with him instantly with the weight and conditioning program that he has. He was explaining things to the boys that wasn't strictly like we're going to do squats, we're going to do cleans. It was you use this muscle to do this technique. You use this muscle to do this technique, and they was pretty impressed with that.
That is pretty sweet. I know a lot of the current Michigan players, make a lot of fun of Coach Herbert and his energy, if you will, in terms of just getting people ready to, hit the weight room and things like that. So that makes a lot of sense. It matches up with, what you're saying about, his approach to that whole strength and conditioning thing. Ryan, what you got?
Man. So obviously, Notre Dame was a big factor for both of your boys. What did you guys personally like about what Marcus Freeman is selling at Notre Dame? Obviously, the academics at Notre Dame are always at the top of the top, but from your guys' perspective, being parents, obviously you want your kids to go to the best academic institutions. But beyond that, and in your guys' opinions, what did Marcus Freeman offer that you guys liked? And what did you like about what Marcus Freeman is doing at Notre Dame?
For me, I liked that he talked about how he was like, he was just honest. He's like, if it's only football they're coming for, they're not going to have the experience that we want them to have. So I liked how he looked outside of football and what's available to them in that nature. I personally like Notre Dame. It's got, like you said, the education is top notch and the history. But Michigan does too. But I did enjoy Marcus Freeman going outside of just what he expected or what he saw the boys doing in football. It was more than that.
The whole Notre Dame program impressed me and Mom when they got the official offer. When they first got the official offer, both of the boys was like, "No, Notre Dame is all about books, and we're not trying to get slammed every weekend." But then Coach Washington made a connection with the boys, and they grew to love Coach Washington and Seabass. And I kind of thought that's the school they was going to go to because they was both growing into the system. And so I was willing to go with that because me and Mom had our top 3 picks, and Notre Dame, Michigan was in them strictly for the education and the entire process. So I'm not mad that Jerod went to Michigan because we still keep the same academics. But one thing my wife loved about Notre Dame is the classroom size. Having a classroom size of 10 students, you can't go wrong with that. It's going to make sure you do your education first, and you're going to graduate with some knowledge and not just get pushed through class like with some of the colleges where you have 150 students in gen ed classes. So,
absolutely. And that's one of the advantages of Notre Dame being a private institution, and they can, obviously provide and support those smaller classrooms, at least to, the student to professor ratio there is really good there. So that is definitely a good thing. Mom, this one is for you, actually. I want to ask, I know that you did an interview with EJ Holland recently, and he spoke about how, if the boys decided to go to different schools, and I guess for you as well, Mr. Smith, this can be answered by you as well. If they decided to go to different schools, the logistics of that thing, and obviously having them both at the same institution or university would be advantageous. Is that something that you guys spoke about?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoke about it because, I mean, like, Jerod said, they've been playing football together since they were 4 in flag football. They've always played together. They complement each other in their styles and stuff. And, so they know each other. trying to logistically try to do 2 colleges. I mean, it'd be hard, but I mean, we travel now to see them play. You know, we were traveling up from North Carolina to watch them play. So we're used to doing logistics, and, you know, at that point we would just split our time between them.
Absolutely. And for you, Mr. Smith?
Yes, the same thing. The first 2 years, we was like, you all are going to be a package deal. You all are going to go and tag team together. And then I think around January, February timeframe, I told them, sit down with them, I said, don't sacrifice for each other. Because one school may want you and the other school may not want you. So I said, go to the school that is best for you, and me and Mom will figure it out.
Absolutely. I actually read something about you, Mr. Smith, as well, where early on in the process you might have been a little more what's the word? Overbearing isn't the word, but just giving your input right on the boys' choice of school until another a coach, I guess, along the way, you know, spoke with you about that. How'd that go?
Yes, sir. It was with the Buckeyes.
Interesting. Those guys.
Bell, and again, the free education. For not many guys go to the NFL, so I wanted to get a degree like an engineering, doctor, ROTC, and I was telling the boys, you will go to school and you will get this degree, and you know, won't get no popcorn degree. And Coach Bell sort of like gave me a story of a kid that went to college and his parents was pushing him to do a certain degree, and he was flunking and about to get kicked out of the school. And then he said that was me. It happened to me.
Wow.
Dad, do me a favor. You're not going to be the one giving your blood, sweat, and tears to this school and this coach. Let the boys do what they want to do. So after that phone call, I tapered back tremendously. And I just sort of, like my wife said, sort of supporting God instead of pushing.
Absolutely. I actually have a question from the YouTube channel on a different video. A guy who said he wasn't going to make it to the live, but wanted to ask a question. I'm going to put it up here so he doesn't think that I didn't listen to him or anything like that. But it's a pretty decent question. If I can find it. Of course I can't. There we go. All right, here we go. And you can't see that, but I'll read it for him. He says it's a 2-part question. The first one is, and this is from John A. Schultz, so shout out to you, John. He says, what were you as parents looking for from the universities for your sons that your sons were interested in? And then the second part is, if you were starting the recruiting process over again, what is the one piece of advice you would give yourselves and your sons?
Oh, wow. Okay. Like I said, I was looking at education. That has always been a number one factor to me. You're first a student, and then you're an athlete. So that has always been that's what got them to Loomis, because, you know, they reached out and I researched them. You know, they were a top boarding school, and Cheshire's right up there with them. So education has always been the forefront for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And for the second part of the question, what I wish we would have did in the beginning is I wish we wouldn't spread it ourselves so thin. I know we didn't know what school we was going to bunker down with, but I know it's pretty stressful for the boys having conversations with several coaches every night of the week and still trying to get in and not be rude and disrespectful to anyone. I wish we could have like guided them better with that and had more advice. We was sort of making them take all phone calls, block out time, take away from the little bit of free time they did have at Loomis. So I wish I could have did that a little bit different. And then also got out to visit more schools a little bit more sooner, because I don't think we took our first visit to maybe the second year, which sort of kind of got us behind the power curve of seeing the facilities and not meeting the coaches. We was doing a lot of just phone calls and Zooms for the first part of the journey.
Right. Yeah. Ryan, go ahead.
So I have a question for you guys, because obviously this has been a big talking point around college football and college sports in general the last few years with recruiting. As parents of two highly recruited kids, what are your thoughts on NIL as a whole, and NIL in terms of how it's been used in terms of recruiting, the good and the bad that comes with it? Um, Obviously, I'm sure Notre Dame and Michigan have been exposed and lost some recruits because of it, because gained some recruits because of it. But as parents, how do you guys look at NIL, and how do you guys view that as a concept in college football?
Well, I'm still a believer that the NIL is still a fairy tale. I know that it's out there, but I talk to a lot of coaches, and I don't believe the money is out there. On the other note, I think that it's awesome. The kids are getting paid for what they for their hard work. It's not like the school is losing money. When they televise these games, they're making billions of dollars a year. So it's not going to hurt to pay these kids. The schools that have like the base packages for every kid to play sports. That way, everyone's getting some money in their pocket. But I do support the NIL package. I just wish there was. I hope there's going to be a lot of education given to the kids, so kids are not getting this money. Because I know when we take these tours, like every kid has a Hellcat at college, which my boys see it and they want it, and I tell them they're gonna get a Toyota Camry.
That's a smart move. That's a smart move.
Right.
In college, they should have some kind of smart plan and a way to save that money for when they graduate. They can have a nice piece of change in their pocket. Because even a base package of $50,000 for 3 years is a lot more money than what a lot of average Americans make. So I just hope the NCAA provides a lot with these kids, so they're not out blowing it and thinking they are LeBron Jameses and.
Yeah.
Right. I know even like you were saying, a base of like $50,000 would be like being a millionaire on a college campus. I know when I was in school, $10 was like gold.
Hey, especially for being a college student, man. I was broke as a college student at
I
Illinois
know,
State, man.
It's crazy. So I want to ask about the actual. Okay, so Jacob has not yet committed. Right, I saw that he does have a official visit lined up for Michigan some point next month. Are the boys talking to each other? Like, is Jerod trying to convince Jacob to join him in Ann Arbor?
Jerod is heavily recruiting his brother every day. Not only is Jerod heavily recruiting him, some other players in the class of 24 is also reaching out to him, which I think is pretty neat. So yes, they are out heavily recruiting him, and he's still talking to Coach Ellison on a routine basis.
Very nice.
Hopefully, hopefully he ends up at Notre Dame. I would hope, because I've watched this kid the last couple of years. Because I pay attention to recruiting a lot. I start following kids like when they're sophomores in high school, and I love his tape. I love both of their tape. I wish Notre Dame would have got both. But man, I really hope we could get Jacob. I really do.
We're about to mute your mic.
Nah, man, I really do. But I think he's going to excel wherever he goes, even if that's not a Notre Dame. But if Notre Dame misses out on both, can't say that doesn't hurt.
For sure. So, by the way, if Jacob wants the platform to announce wherever he's going to go to school, it's all his. Just let him know if that's what he wants to do. I just want to throw that in there. But other than that,
if I have to, I'll wear a Michigan hat. Just if I have to, I'll burn it after, but I will wear it if I have to.
For sure. So speaking of Michigan and wearing hats and things like that, did you guys have like coming up, or did you watch certain college football teams or whatever that you were fans of?
I mean, Michigan has always been a powerhouse. I mean, they're always right there, up there with the Alabama and the Georgias. I mean, I remember, even back in the 90s, they were the Michigan was the top dog in football and basketball. So, I mean, they've got a good history, long history of, having outstanding seasons, producing amazing athletes. So, I mean, it's a top-notch school all around.
Absolutely.
But growing up, we watched Big Blue Nation and everything because we're from Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That is home, so we did watch Big Blue everything.
Playing, Dave. That's why I mean, it's not like we didn't see them.
I did.
I was actually born and raised in Frankfurt, and my mom lives in
oh my God.
Lexington now. So
wow,
really, you're from Frankfurt?
Yes. Well, that's where I was born. I lived there for 5 years and then moved to Illinois. So
my family is from Frankfurt.
Small world, man.
Yeah, that is small, very small. Who then? I grew up obviously in Ohio. Because my family migrated to Ohio, but that's neither here nor there. We don't need to get into that sort of thing. Okay, so Ryan, I'm sorry, you got any other question?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, we Jerod's made his decision. I've heard conflicting stuff about Notre Dame and Jacob, but coming from you guys, I mean, is Notre Dame still in the picture for Jacob? Is that still on the table for him? What has he told you guys in terms of like what he likes about Notre Dame in terms of what differentiates Notre Dame from other schools that are recruiting him?
Well, I heard that same rumor. I was like, what? Like when they were at the combine this weekend, somebody, they told me that. I was like, oh, I said, well, that's news to mom. So
yeah,
that's interesting. That's good.
Some of these guys, these so-called reporters, put out stuff just for clicks. So that you can't take everything they say, but go ahead.
So Jerod called Jerod talked to Coach Moore, his high school coach, and his high school coach told him to call the other coaches that he was seriously thinking about committing to. So he gave all the coaches a verbal before he actually announced it. And
that's nice. Yeah.
Coach Washington called me and we talked and we talked about Jacob, and I told him that Jacob still is open, and if they still pursued him, he will still be interested. Jacob hasn't told me. He's keeping it tight because I think Dad talks too much.
Right.
He is still pursuing all options.
That is that's interesting. I saw obviously, Mr. Smith, you are a member of the United States Armed Forces, have been for
19 years.
19 years. That's very impressive, and thank you, by the way, for your service. And so you guys have traveled or been around the world, really. Is this process of visiting schools and orchestrating logistics and things like that, is it just easy for you guys, or is this a strain on things that you have to do during the weeks, anything like that?
It's not a strain on the time. It's just a strain on the piggy bank, because we're not going to visiting schools where I can jump in the car and just drive. We flying and getting run, spending nights. So I am going to be one of the happiest parents when we get done with these visits.
Absolutely, I'm not mad at that. Right.
I don't have anything else really. Phil, if you have any more questions.
No, actually, so I again, thank you both for joining us today. If hopefully we can do this again if and when Jacob decides obviously he will, but when Jacob decides, maybe we can get you guys back. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us.
Oh, really quick, Phil, I did have one more question. It just popped up because we talked about this on our show.
Right.
If hypothetically Jerod stays at Michigan and Jacob goes to Notre Dame. Jerod, sorry. And they play against each other in a college football playoff. How does that work from being mom and dad?
I'm going to have to be like Mother Kelsey. I'm going to have that.
Right.
If they go into two different schools, and definitely the days they play each other, I'm going to have the split jersey on. I'm going to have to get her seamstress.
I'm going to cheer for the one that's winning.
Very nice.
And
I like it. Well, again, thank you both, and thank you for your time.
yeah, thanks.
Yep, thanks.
How about that, Ryan? Mr. and Mrs. Smith, parents of 4-star Michigan commit at this point, Jerod Smith Jr., and 4-star Michigan target, Jacob Smith.
You got to put Michigan and Notre Dame target.
Well, I mean, sure, you guys are targeting him. Sure, I'll put that in there. Michigan Notre Dame target, Jacob Smith. Our first interview, man. How do you feel about that?
I like
Our
it.
first interview
like
here on the Maize and Blue and Gold Show.
I like it. I like that we kind of got some inside info there. So all these reporters that are saying that Notre Dame is no longer pursuing Jacob is just dumb, and I'm glad because those were Notre Dame reporters saying that. So
to make themselves feel good. See
no,
what I'm saying
actually,
about Notre
believe
Dame?
it. I don't know why, but there's this weird sense from Notre Dame fans that Cole Mullins, the linebacker that we got this week, is somehow better than both of the Smith twins, which I don't agree with. Even I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I don't agree with that. I mean, Cole Mullins obviously is a great kid. He's a great athlete, really good on tape, but still, man, if Notre Dame doesn't land at least one, that's a bad loss. That's a bad loss because, like what their dad had even just said, if Notre Dame were to continue to pursue Jacob, and if the stuff I've heard is true, which from what they said is not, that Notre Dame's slowed down and stopped pursuing them as hard.
Yeah.
And you lost that recruitment to Michigan. There's just no, from what I have understood, it's always been Jerod wants to go to Michigan, Jacob wants to go to Notre Dame. But if Jacob goes to Michigan to join his brother, that's all on Notre Dame. That's all I got to say about that.
Really quick, if you're in here, be sure to like and share the live. I appreciate you. Walter, thank you, sir, for patronizing the channel. John Mitchell, thank you. I appreciate it. Ryan, we both appreciate it. Yeah, so I think obviously both of those gentlemen, Jerod Smith Jr. and Jacob Smith, have excellent parents who are obviously putting their kids first when it comes to this, and their educations first, which I'm sure is why mom really likes Notre Dame, right?
I've seen that with a lot of recruits. That's especially true with Justin Scott. His mom, I'm sure you've read the stuff. His mom talks to him about where his recruitment is at every 2 weeks. And I don't know if you saw, but I'm sure me and you, Phil, both disagree that Miami is getting him. Although Steve Wilfong of 24/7 crystal ball Justin Scott to Miami.
I do disagree that Miami would be the ones to get him. However, I am going to concede.
Not even like a Michigan fan
is going to be the one.
Not even a Michigan fan, but like just in general, with everything you know about Justin Scott and his recruitment and his mom,
right?
I could not see him at Miami. I really couldn't.
Well, look, Miami is also a private school, I believe, right?
I don't think so. I think they're public.
All right. Well, they're in the ACC, and generally ACC schools are decent academically, more than decent academically. I say they're above average academically. With schools like Virginia Tech, UVA, UNC, Duke, all those schools are top notch academically.
I think they said that out of the teams that are on Justin Scott's top 8, only Notre Dame and Michigan rank inside the top 40 academic institutions of the 8.
Wow.
And if his mom wants him to go to an academic school,
right,
that's close to home,
then I'm sure Notre Dame, I think, is in the lead there.
Yeah. So but it depends. It depends on if he goes to Miami, let's be real, that's probably an NIL thing. And they're probably like, oh, well, I know you want to be close to your mom, but we can pay you. We can pay your mom to come out to the games. Like,
Right. They're just going, forget it. Look, man, here's the thing. There is no real regulation on the NIL situation right now, right? And until there is a bit more regulation.
Phil, but how dare John Harbaugh recruit a cheeseburger?
Jim Harbaugh. And yes. And that was ridiculous. I can't
See, that's
believe...
the thing, Phil, and I think you would agree with me. I think, obviously the NCAA is not doing anything now in terms of cracking down on this because there's a lot of illegal stuff going on with NIL right now. But the minute Michigan or Notre Dame or teams like that are kind of in that middle tier, once they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, that's when the suspensions come out. That's when the bans come out. That's when people get fired. That's when that will happen.
Right. No, I agree. Because again, buying a cheeseburger for somebody, and they were like really trying to, hold our feet to the fire for that. Like it wasn't a thing where they were like, "Oh, here's a slap on the wrist."
They were going to talk about suspending
don't do it again.
Harbaugh for games, man.
Exactly right. So I don't know, man. That's kind of wild. Look, let's switch gears really fast on to our respective schools and recruiting. Notre Dame picked up a couple big commits this week. Want to speak a little bit about that?
So we've got, what did I send you? 5 commits in the last 6 days for us. Yesterday we picked up 4-star receiver Micah Gilbert, who is also a Michigan target. Mm-hmm. He chose Notre Dame over the likes of Michigan, North Carolina, and others. Big time recruit. Chancey Stuckey, man, I'm telling you right now, Chancey Stuckey is doing his thing. As you see my cat in the background climbing up my back. But no, like Micah Gilbert, I think he's going to be a really good football player. But if you look at what Notre Dame's doing receiver recruiting wise, we're stacking up talent. And that's what has been the knock on Notre Dame the last 10 years in terms of what's the difference between them and the likes of Alabama, Clemson, and these other teams.
LSU?
No. Wide receivers. When's the last time Notre Dame had a receiver that was up for...
I don't know, man. Michigan,
what's the Blitnikoff? The Blitnikoff. The last Notre Dame receiver to either win or be up for the Blitnikoff was Golden Tate in 2007. Okay. That's how long it's been. So Notre Dame is finally getting, we got Cam Williams, we got Micah Gilbert. We're going to probably get Jason Robinson. So that'd be 4 in the class. We're stacking up 4 and 5 stars in that receiver room now, which is nice. And then the other commit we got was son of NFL Hall of Fame linebacker Brian Urlacher, Kennedy Urlacher.
3-star.
3-star.
Kennedy Urlacher.
He committed Notre Dame 2 days ago. I think he's an underrated guy. You could say, well, maybe he's even a 3-star because of his name. But I really like this kid. He's really fast. He plays hard. And anytime you can get a kid, whether 3-star or not, that's a son of a former legend, if he's half as good as his dad was, I think that's a win. And then we got Notre Dame legacy, son of NFL Hall of Famer Bryce Young, 4-star edge out of Charlotte Christian, committed Notre Dame. That was just kind of a matter of time. He was supposed to commit when he came to the Clemson game, but after that his recruitment kind of blew up and got offers from Alabama and some other SEC programs. Still ended up Notre Dame, so that was a big one as well. And then we got Cole Sullivan, who is another linebacker. He came out with his top 5 schools. Wisconsin, Notre Dame, Michigan, Duke, and Stanford. So he's a 3-star linebacker that, from what I understand, it's between Notre Dame and Michigan for him. I don't know if
I believe we have we just picked up a. I have not talked much about him, but we did just pick up a crystal ball for him.
From who?
For whatever that's worth, for Sullivan.
From who?
Oh, you said from Steve Wiltfong.
Dude, I don't believe in like I used to really believe Steve Wilfong, and
I
then
mean, he's
after
got
he
99% accuracy.
dude, 2 crystal balls. He did 2 crystal balls for both Smith twins to end up at Notre Dame.
Right.
He also changes his a lot, if you've noticed. With Justin Scott, he's
Yeah,
changed his
but
3
I
times.
think that's smart, right? With more information, you should change your opinions on certain things.
But I think, but when I look at a prediction like a crystal ball, I don't look at it as like, oh, I'm going to change it. Like I like what On3 does, where you get one chance to predict a player,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
if
no,
you're
I
right,
like
you're
that
right.
too. And people are
Like
very
it's
careful with that. Even like EJ Holland is sometimes
yeah.
this year, at least this year, I will say EJ Holland has been very
Sometimes last
careful
year
with
he
that
was like
prediction.
fooling around, just putting
Last year he
crystal
was
balls on
wilding.
everybody.
I will shout out to EJ Holland though.
I think
hey,
last year he had a
thank you, Brando, 2 times. Make sure if you're in the live, hit the like button. We appreciate it. Thank you.
no. I think last
Yeah,
year
I'm sorry.
EJ
Go ahead.
Holland had you guys crystal ball like 8 5-stars, and I'm like, bro, chill. Like, bro, chill. Somebody get this man off the weed. Like, come on.
Well, I will say so. Jaden Davis's teammate Channing Goodwin is set to make his announcement on Sunday. He's the wide receiver, a 3-star now wide receiver. He was a 4-star at some point. I'm sure on the consensus he may be 4-star still, but he is set to make his decision on the 7th. He is a Michigan legacy recruit, as his father went to Michigan, and I do believe that will be in Michigan's favor. So I expect Michigan to pick up a couple recruits here in the coming week, and I think both of them will be 3-star because I think Sullivan is going to be making a decision, and so is Goodwin.
Has he announced a decision date? Sullivan,
I don't know, but I do know that Channing Goodwin has. Yeah, I can't see where Sullivan has announced a commitment date. So a couple things to talk about across the land of college football. I'm not sure if you saw my video on the collapse and the of Michigan State, right? Did you happen to see that?
no, I didn't.
They lost in a 8-hour span. They lost their starting quarterback, their starting wide receiver, and the best cornerback on that team, all into the transfer portal. I do think they ended up getting Brantley back, who is the corner, but Peyton Thorne in the portal, right?
Isn't
Keon
that
Coleman
the receiver,
in
right?
the portal.
Wasn't that one Keon Coleman was the one that killed Michigan
He
all
is
those like amazing catches?
He is. Look, if I'm being fair, Keon Coleman's probably the only guy that Michigan even watched film on, is worth watching film on for Lobronim, but he is now in the portal. There's been some smoke, at least a little smoke, that Michigan could be one of his destinations, but although I think LSU is the more likely of the destinations.
What is your sense? Is he looking for NIL money or is he looking for starting time?
I think he's looking for starting time. So the report says he actually was the first to leave, or the first to put his name in the portal. What went public first is that Peyton Thorne put his name in the portal first. However, reports say that he wanted to leave first because he didn't want Peyton Thorne as his quarterback because he wants to go to the next level.
Well, Peyton Thorne is hot doo-doo.
Yes, without question. Right.
Man, that's how I don't understand how he beat you guys in 2021 or 2022.
Hey, it's me, an orgy in the friends. Wow. So yeah, and of course they have, I think, 4 recruits right now in their recruiting class.
Did you hear about the other state losing that 5-star receiver to the portal?
I did. Caleb Brown is who you're
Yes.
talking about. and he may be a Michigan guy too.
See, I'm so glad Notre Dame's not like I saw a report was it yesterday that Notre Dame was interested in Cody Epps, who is the receiver out of BYU who torched us. I think he had like 4 catches for 100 yards in that Las Vegas game. But like he's got everybody offering. Like I think Alabama's after him. I think Alabama's actually the team to beat for him. Like they need any more receivers, right? But no,
Right.
like I'm so glad Notre Dame is not getting any more like receivers because I'm so tired of getting these old receivers. Like I liked Caleb Smith,
Right.
but I honestly thought that he would kind of stunt. Like if he would have played this year, he would have stunted the growth of a lot of our younger receivers. When I'm more fine with, hey, you put the best guys on the field. I don't care if they don't have experience. You put them on the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm glad we're starting to see we're going to see Tobias Merriweather start, who I've been screaming to see since last season. So, but anyway, yeah. I mean, does Michigan really need receivers? Like how big of a need is that?
So, yes, the answer is yes. All right. I am a fan of both Roman Wilson and Cornelius Johnson, who will be the 1 and 2 receivers this year. That being said,
do you guys not have a clear number 3? Is that?
Well, I think we may have a clear number 3 now. Tyler Morris may be that guy, or Darius Clemens, right? Either one of them. That being said, though, the reason I'm saying that Michigan needs a receiver is not because those guys can't be good, but we need a difference maker at the position, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that we have a difference maker right now. At least
I've been seeing Michigan fans say Tyler Morris is the difference maker.
I mean, and he could be, right? We just don't.
But do you think that if you guys were to get like Noah Brown, who I think is a sophomore, he's a sophomore, does that then stunt the growth of Tyler Morris because he's a younger player as well, and takes snaps away?
Well, yeah, I mean, you obviously run that risk, and that's just something that top level college football teams deal with, right? Look at all the.
Do you think Noah Brown? Like honestly, do you think Noah Brown is better right now than, or as big of an upgrade over Tyler Morris? Like just being honest.
I mean, I've seen Noah Brown.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about Tyler Morris other than what they have told us about spring practice, right?
Yeah.
So I have to say yes. Right?
Okay.
Look, here's the thing. If you look at the other state, they have like 1 million receivers, right? Nobody's saying, oh, he's going to take snaps away from that guy, because you know that he's going to take snaps away from that guy. It's just when you get your turn, what do you do with it?
Maybe it's just me because I look at it and I look at if like Notre Dame were to go get Cody Epps, that takes snaps away from Jaden Greathouse.
Right.
Okay, Cody Epps is a sophomore. Then you run the risk of Jaden Greathouse not playing for the next 2 years not because he's not good, but because you don't invest the transfer portal scholarship into a guy that's not going to play.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, I'd rather see what Jaden Greathouse can do, even though he hasn't played a single college football game, than go get a Cody Epps.
Yeah.
But I know that Michigan safety, is he still out there? The one that transferred?
RJ Moten. No, he signed with, or is committed to Florida.
Are you fucking? Because we need a safety really bad.
Yeah,
that's the one position we need. Is
you could use Peyton Bowen right now, couldn't you?
No, man. Like, it's not even because like our safeties are bad. It's just injuries. Ben Minnick, our freshman safety, is injured. Yeah. Aiden Schuler's injured. Brown, our DJ Brown is our starting safety. He's injured. Thomas Harper injured. Like we just, Everybody's just getting their ankles broke, man. Like, come on.
Right.
Like, we
Goodwin's
need some guy
committing
that can just
on
play
May
out there.
7th. Yeah, I spoke about this, Troy. He will be committing Sunday, which is May 7th. And I'm sure it's going to be Michigan. We all expect it to be Michigan. Go Blue. Shout out to the OG Troy Wilbur.
Notre Dame is really out here offering 2026 recruits.
Wow. I mean, take your lumps in this one. So I want to go back to this comment Seth made. He said you look really good in some maize and blue, man.
Talk Ryan to get some wallpaper to get this. He would look great in maize and blue, bro. No, man. I'm not gonna get wallpaper, but I've got something planned for my backdrop. Is yours wallpaper? Is that what it is?
Of course not. No, I would never. This is hideous. This would be hideous wallpaper here. This is just a backdrop.
Oh, for real? Is that real brick?
No, it's a canvas.
How'd you do that? Or where'd you get it from?
Canvas backdrop. Amazon.
Oh, that's cool as hell. I didn't even know you could get those. Yeah, man. I've been tripping.
If you need anything else, all your shopping needs, just let me know.
I need to get me a backdrop. That would actually be cool.
You guys also picked up some much needed help on your basketball team because
Micah Shrewsbury out here putting in work, man. People were joking on the Notre Dame board that Notre Dame actually might have a better roster this year than they did last year, which is insane to think about. Like, they're better actually now. Right. The only real, like, if I'm looking at the roster we have now with the guys we got committed, the only guys that we really lost that probably hurts is JJ Starling to Syracuse. Like,
yeah.
I mean, Cormac Ryan going to North Carolina. Okay. I mean, all he did was really shoot the ball. You can always replace shooting. So, I mean, and the guys we got that transfer in from Penn State. We took basically every single Penn State recruit.
You did. Which sucks for them.
Bro, Penn State fans are fucking pissed.
Yeah, I'd be.
But no, and then we got Kerry Booth. That was a huge one. Notre Dame's actually going after the 7'5" center from Oral Roberts, and who's in the portal. Right. Could you imagine going up against Notre Dame and they got a 7'5" center? Like, bro, you're not getting anything. A lot of the
time, those guys don't move great, man.
Well, Bull moved really good.
Well, Bo is an exception. And this kid that's supposed to be the number 1 draft pick next year out of
Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, he looks like the real thing.
He's 7'3" and plays like Kevin Durant. Like that.
Yeah, he's gonna.
He might be the next Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was 7'3".
Let's talk really quickly about the post-spring top 25. Did you see that?
Doesn't matter because they're wrong. Unless you're looking at the USA Today, then they're right.
The USA Today
is at 7. Yeah, they got Notre Dame at 7.
Oh my God.
The fact that let me say this, and me and Lucas were getting into this in the chat.
Right.
Okay, you have Texas and LSU in the top 10. What the hell have LSU and Texas done to deserve a top 10 ranking? Like, and if you're basing it off of spring
this
ball,
is where we're gonna disagree. It's not based off of spring. It's based off.
It is
what you did, how you ended last year, what you bring back, right? And whatever. Now, here's the thing: LSU, for all that you want to say about them, played in that conference championship. They had a conference.
They also got They got dog walked by Tennessee.
They did.
People forget about that.
Tennessee was a top 10 team.
But they finished ranked higher than Tennessee for whatever reason. They had 4 losses and were ranked higher.
Really, at the final The
Yeah.
final poll, they were ranked higher.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
They were ranked like 5 or 6, I believe.
Well,
Which is
obviously,
insane.
can't explain that. That's pretty inexplicable why they would rank them ahead of Tennessee at that point. But you think Notre Dame is the 7th best team in the country right now?
I don't think they're 7 because I think you got to still take into account what happened last year. But they're not 14. They're not 16.
Right.
That some of these other
But
like
they're
if you're gonna
top
tell me
10.
Texas, like yeah, they're. I think you can't tell me Texas is better than Notre Dame. Texas lost. Okay, first of all, Texas played in a very wide open Big 12 and still lost 4 games. Like, come on. Like they didn't improve. They lost Bijan Robinson. They got worse, if anything. What are they going to get ranked
Is Notre
higher
Dame
because
better than Clemson right now?
Yes.
Are they better than USC right now?
I think that they would beat them in a game, but I think it'd be close.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame would blow out LSU. I legitimately do think that.
Stop it.
How I look at this, look,
LSU? Where's the game played?
Okay, this is where I'm going. Okay. Last year with Drew Pine as your quarterback, Notre Dame blew out Clemson, right? Clemson blew out Florida State with DJ as their quarterback. Florida State beat LSU.
They didn't blow out Florida State.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, it was a blowout. It was a blowout. It was like
what was the score?
Like 42-20 or something like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
And that was at Florida State too.
Right.
So I'm looking at it like Notre Dame blew out Clemson. Clemson blew out Florida State. Florida State beat LSU.
Yeah.
So.
No, bro. Yeah, that game was 34-28.
Oh, I swore it was a blowout. Are you talking? Is that the Florida State Clemson game?
Clemson, Florida State last year was 34-28.
There must have been a late comeback or something because when I was watching it, it wasn't.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know, man. I don't get the love for LSU.
Well, he did a thing there, bro.
They had the same record as Notre Dame, though. Like,
no, I get that. That's fair. But Notre Dame, here's why they're going in opposite directions, at least in the eyes of these people. Notre Dame, the year before, only lost 2 games, right? 3 games after your bowl loss. No, 2 games.
No, 2 games. We lost 2 games.
2 games all of that year. And then you followed that up with a 4-loss season. While LSU only won 4 games the previous season and then followed that up by doubling that win total.
But if we're being honest, LSU probably should have lost more than 4 games this year or last year. Arkansas gave away that game to them with no KJ Jefferson. They probably should have lost to. They should have lost to Auburn.
What do you mean they had things fall their way? They had to win those games.
When you're playing Arkansas without KJ Jefferson, that should be an easy win. You shouldn't only win by 3 points.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. All I'm saying, bro, is at the end of the day, he had to win the games. He won the games. They won the games.
Do you think Jaden Davis is a
Notre Dame never was blown out? You lost to Marshall. That's like a 20-point loss to LSU.
But I'm saying like also that was a different team last year. Like if I'm looking at it like this, Notre Dame went 9-4 last year,
right?
With Drew Pine as their quarterback.
Who on Notre Dame's schedule last year? And I know that you guys want to stick to this thing where because you're this independent school, your schedule is always tough. But let's be real. Last year you had 3 real teams on your schedule, maybe 4.
Well, BYU at the beginning of the year, BYU was top 25. North Carolina, we blew out.
They ended up not being a real team.
North Carolina was a good team.
That's what I said. That's why maybe 4 teams. Four
But
teams.
the good teams that Michigan have on their schedule. Ohio
Yeah,
State.
Ohio State and Penn State. Right. Okay. Here's the difference. We didn't drop a game to Hawaii. You know what I mean? If we'd have lost that Hawaii game, then
You guys would have lost to Hawaii.
right. That's what I'm saying though. You lost to Marshall. Then you turned around and lost to Stanford.
Is this not a different team than last year?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a different team.
Like I think Notre Dame's gotten way improved than they were last year.
Now this year's team is a college football playoff contender.
I was just telling Lucas this. Every year, with the exception of last year in 2016, Notre Dame has won 10 games or more and is in the college football playoff discussion.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like that's just
listen, I would even say Notre Dame has had a better 5-year stretch than Michigan's had. And that includes these last 2 years that we just went to the college football playoff. Because the 2 years before we went to the college football playoff 2 years, you went to the college football playoff in 2 of 3 years, right?
Yeah. And it very easily could have been 3 or 4 if Jack Cohn would have beat Cincinnati.
Well, I mean, I can't help who you play at quarterback. But yeah, and I think that would have been massive, by the way, if you guys made that college football playoff.
We would have been blown out, Phil. Like I was rooting that year. I'm not even joking. I was rooting for us not to get to the playoff because if you remember, we almost lost to Toledo that year. Like
so no, absolutely. You guys did almost lose to this is what I have a problem with. You guys did start 3-3. Very well could have been 2-4. You probably should have been 2-4. But the freaking stimulus package you got to get out of that Cal situation, I haven't forgotten. All right. So you're 3-3, start the year, you finish the year 9-4. Great. So you went 8-1 after you went 3-3.
And we were carrying a backup quarterback.
Excellent. All of that is great, right? But so what? Like I
have
can't
the same
find
schedule as last year, basically.
You're exactly, and that schedule wasn't daunting. Clemson was the best team on that schedule. Other than USC, who you lost to.
But look at who we're playing them with. We're playing them with our backup, well, technically third string quarterback. If he would have stayed.
or ain't no right. They could probably use them.
I don't even know if they even play football, do they?
I don't know. If they do, Alabama's played them.
No, man, they only play the Citadel and Mercer.
Ridiculous. You go play your schedule with your backup quarterback. We basically did. JJ was the backup.
Stop
the year before. What are you?
This is blasphemous. About? This is blasphemous. What Phil is spewing. Okay, Phil, look at the scores of the games against Ohio State, Clemson.
You guys are hanging on to that Ohio State score, boy.
Look at the score against Ohio State and the USC. We lost to USC by 2 touchdowns. Okay,
right.
The difference in that game was 2 turnovers that Drew Pine gave, which ended up in 2 USC touchdowns. Okay.
Well, the difference in that game was Caleb Williams.
Well, I'm saying if Drew Pine doesn't turn the ball over, the point differential off of turnovers was 14 off of turnovers.
But he's probably he turned the ball over because he's trying to make something happen.
No, they were early in the first quarter. They were terrible turnovers. If we have Sam Hartman on last year's team, we don't lose to Marshall. We definitely don't lose to Ohio State. We put up more than 9 points. We probably do beat USC, and we're undefeated. That's how I look at it.
With Sam Hartman.
Yes. If Sam Hartman was our quarterback last year.
You guys really believe in the Sam Hartman kid, too.
Dude, did you not watch? He played the best in the spring game than any other quarterback in their spring game.
I mean, I'm not gonna. He did.
I know it's a
He
spring
did.
game, but still,
He did. He did. He played well.
bro. He
in
was
the
at,
spring
if
game.
you would have watched that spring game, he was out here looking
Notre
like
Dame.
Joe Montana. Notre Dame
You
fans
keep
upset how
invoking the name of the great Joe Montana with these guys who shouldn't even be in the same paragraph with him.
Sam Hartman is the leading ACC passer all time.
Stop it. He is.
He
That's
is.
great.
Hey, I'm telling you right now, when Sam Hartman wins the Heisman, takes Notre Dame to a natty, he will be a first-round pick.
Okay. All right. Well, if he does that, you're right.
He
will
better be a
first-round
first-round pick.
Right. He's not going to be a first-round pick without that.
I don't know why NFL scouts hate him so much. I think
JJ
he's
McCarthy's
really
a first-round pick.
Okay.
JJ McCarthy right now has way better upside than Sam Hartman.
Okay.
Somebody called him Scam Hartman, by the way. PFF ranks Sam Hartman number 6 quarterback in the top 10. You won't get an argument out of me. Sam Hartman probably is the 6th
Hey man,
best
you don't
quarterback in the
average
country.
throwing 40 touchdowns a season by just being a scrub.
He's not a scrub. He's not a scrub at all. However, he did play in the ACC.
He also
All I'm
threw
saying
for
is
7 touchdown passes on Clemson.
got to put a little salt in there, little grains of salt in there for playing in the ACC.
You think JJ McCarthy would do that against
In
Clemson?
the ACC, absolutely.
No, I'm saying, do you think JJ McCarthy dropped 7 touchdown passes on Clemson?
Yeah,
Sam
they're an
Hartman
ACC team.
Okay. Stop it. JJ will probably never have a 7 touchdown game in his life.
I want you to. You are so blasphemous. The blasphemy that spews out of your mouth on a regular basis on this show. Man, that was exciting, man. I can't believe.
It really
So
was.
if you missed it, we had the parents of 4-star Michigan commit Jerod Smith Jr. and his brother, 4-star Michigan and Notre Dame target Jacob Smith on the show. Both lovely people. Was a great interview. We expect more interviews like that. I told them if Jacob wants to make his college decision live on this show, no matter where he goes, they're free. They
I
have
will
the
even
platform.
and I even said I'll buy a Michigan hat.
Right.
And then burn
Oh,
it
by
out.
the way, my Michigan drip today. I don't know if you guys can see this. That's what I got today.
6 points is curb stomped. What?
Wait, what? Michigan got curb stomped by TCU. I'm not even
That's
going to
not true.
dignify that.
I mean, you guys got, I'll say this, you guys got curb stomped in terms of like your offensive line versus their defensive line. Like they dominated the line of scrimmage in terms of that. But like, if you're watching the actual game, that's not true. But I will say, this guy said scary ass Domers would be 5th in the Big Ten. Under who? Because we're definitely not going to be under Illinois.
You're going to be under Maryland.
No, Maryland was like 8th. What are you talking about? We would last
First
year.
of
The
all,
only
no,
teams we would lose to would be Ohio State, Michigan, and
Penn State.
Penn State. So that's
Penn
4.
State would have beaten you.
That's 4.
Purdue
What are you trying
would
to
have
say?
beaten
Illinois
you.
is better than us?
Well, you tried to say Illinois was better than us.
They should have beat you. What are you talking about?
Oh my God, man!
Illinois is
Stop
like
it.
our little bro now. Like we don't talk about Illinois. They little bro.
Illinois is like our little bro.
Most
I'm
people
not
in the state
gonna-
of Illinois have never watched a single Fighting Illini game in their life because they're Notre
Michigan
Dame
got
fans.
punked by TCU O-line. Man, this is crazy talk, bro. This is crazy talk. Look,
TCU also had one of the top offenses in the country, so
they did, and if you watch that game and you think TCU won that game, then we are talking about something completely different because Michigan lost that game. We did the weird thing at the goal line that we never do. They took away.
You guys wanted to be the Philadelphia Eagles so bad.
They blatantly took away our touchdown. Roman Wilson scored a touchdown.
His
the
butt
whole world
wasn't
saw
in the
it.
end zone.
What are you
His
talking
butt
about?
wasn't. No, the ball wasn't in the end zone. It was
The ball was definitely in the end zone.
His butt was in the end zone.
How can you realize he fell backwards?
The ball was right here, like in this hand, and his butt was over here. So the ball.
That's not possible. Physics. It's not even possible for that to happen, bro. But anyway, they stole a touchdown from us, which we then turned around and I don't know what that fumble was. It's clear that we lost the football game.
But
Ohio State
won.
curb stomped Notre Dame.
Yeah,
they did.
That's not true.
That's a fact. Y'all got curb stomped.
Do not associate me with anything that Michael says unless it's true.
Unless it's true.
Which most statements are not true.
Wilson catch was a touchdown, clear touchdown. HD. I was watching that game in 4K, by the way. It was a touchdown.
No, it wasn't. I have screenshots. I got screenshots.
You don't have screenshots to say anything other than that. So they want excuses for TCU, but Notre Dame shouldn't have a break playing with the backup quarterback. Bro, you played with your starting quarterback in
2 games. We only had our starting quarterback for 2 games.
And you were 0-2 after those 2 games, right? Am I right or wrong? Am I right or am I right? This guy is crazy. Your backup quarterback did better than the starting quarterback.
He wasn't actually better than Buckner, though. Drew Pine wishes he could throw 5 touchdowns in a Gator Bowl.
They were 0-2 with the starter. They won 0% of their games with the starting quarterback. And he wants to harp on this backup thing? Come on, man.
Yeah. Would you say sorry?
No, I'm saying you guys won 0% of your football games with your starting quarterback. And
okay, Phil, but you did you watch the Gator Bowl?
Yeah, I watched it. It was good. It was a great performance.
Do you really think Drew Pine is better than Tyler Buckner?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's why.
This is all I want to do, though. The facts.
Phil, I think your internet's dropping coverage, man. They're playing job coverage on you, Phil.
It is. It was something weird was happening. So don't say this when before he stepped on the field you were 0-2.
I will say Phil, you know where Drew Pine is now? In Arizona State, backing up Emory Jones.
I have no clue where he is.
He's at Arizona State.
And that's where he deserves to be. I mean, he's not a good quarterback. He's not very good.
Hey, you know what? Cade McNamara is a better quarterback than Drew Pine. And that's saying something.
Cade McNamara is also better than Tyler Buckner, but, that's neither here
nor there. Okay, stop it. No, you know what? I would honestly rather have Spencer Petras than Drew Pine.
Cade McNamara is going to lead. Here's my prediction for the year, guys. I was going to save this until a later show, and we'll talk about it anyway.
We'll talk about it during our Big Ten.
Absolutely.
We're doing a Big Ten stream.
Iowa is going to win the Big Ten West.
Oh, God.
Michigan is obviously going to win the Big Ten East. We're going to play each other in the Big Ten Championship, where JJ will curb stomp, as these people like to say in the comments, curb stomp Iowa en route to winning the national championship this upcoming season.
Or Iowa will just upset Michigan in the Big Ten title.
That's not going to happen.
Cade McNamara gets his revenge.
That's not going to happen. I do mean this, though. I don't see anybody in the Big Ten West to stop I this year.
Wisconsin?
Wisconsin?
Hey man, Wisco.
They're not good enough to.
What about
Not right
Illinois?
now. What about them?
They could compete in the Big Ten West.
Sure, man. Sure. I don't see Illinois doing it. The Nebraska, I think, has a better chance than either of those. Minnesota
wait.
might be the team with the best
Northwestern.
chance.
You think Northwestern has a bounce back year?
I think Northwestern's getting smacked. Minnesota though, Minnesota might have a better chance.
Why did they make the damn divisions of the Big Ten so damn lopsided? I don't understand this.
Well, I mean, logistically, it just makes sense, but it is very lopsided. I will give you. But I think at the time, Wisconsin was like winning like a lot, right? When that.
I know, but they're in the same division as Illinois, Minnesota, Rutgers, Purdue.
And theoretically, Nebraska's supposed to be better than they've been for the last 20 years. Although I'm still waiting on it. They are not.
What do you think is worse, Nebraska fans or Texas fans? Because I feel like
Texas fans. Texas
Okay.
fans, without a doubt. Yeah.
Nebraska fans are still living in the 90s.
Yes. They're still waiting for, what's his name? Tommy Frazier.
Tommy Osborne.
Through the door. Right.
Tommy
All those
Osborne.
guys. Yeah. It's not happening.
They thought Scott Frost
right.
was the real deal.
Yeah. Unless he was suiting up, it was never going to work.
Hey, he still has a natty on his resume. Not many coaches can say
does.
that, right?
And he still looks to be in pretty decent shape. He probably could have slung it around a little bit.
Bruh. And you know what's sad? I don't know about you, but I was watching that first game in Ireland against Nebraska and Northwestern. And, you know, that was a really good game. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, Nebraska and Northwestern might be really good. And they both just were trash.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Big Ten West is better than the Notre Dame ACC schedule.
No, but let me tell Brano.
You want
Brano? Nobody was doing that for either of them. Like Buckner, yeah, but Pine, never.
Drew Pine. If it wasn't for Drew Pine, I don't know where you guys' season would be.
Stephen Jelly would have won us more games.
You don't believe that.
You
don't believe that. I know you're trolling now.
Hey man, Stephen Jelly, the best quarterback in college football that can hand the ball off.
Absolutely. I will give him that. Look, man, we had another successful show. I think we were up to 50 live watchers at one point. I was expecting like 200, 300 today. We actually got to get one of these players in here. That's the thing.
Yes.
But shout out.
We need to
also Smith.
Since this is a Michigan and Notre Dame show, we need to, if you can, Phil.
Yeah.
Maybe try to get some of these Notre Dame kids on here too. That'd be fun.
Well, for sure.
Because you got your clout, man. You got your clout. I'm coming out here with like fucking 140 subs. They're like, bro, I need you to set me up, Phil.
Man, look, man, this is not easy. It's not easy. We'll talk offline,
No, it's definitely
obviously. Not. I don't want to give up the sauce on it. But anyway, I want to thank everybody. Hold on. I got to address this really fast. Wisconsin, Iowa, Penn State are going to upset in the Big Ten Conference over Ohio State and Michigan. And I have Nebraska knocking out someone too. So you think those teams are better than Michigan and Ohio State? Wait, I need to hear this response and then we'll get out of here.
I think he's saying he has Penn State versus Iowa or Wisconsin in the Big Ten title.
So Penn State versus Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship is what you're saying, Mike? Ryan needs a haircut, but like it. I'm also bald.
Hey, man.
I like Ryan's hair.
It's the comb over look, man. I just haven't, put it up. That's why I was too lazy today.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments said I was looking proper out here, and I was like, yes, thank you.
What
I
you
got
on today, bro?
the Notre Dame Nike tee.
Okay, I like that. I'm waiting for Michael to tell me that he envisions a Penn State Wisconsin Big Ten championship game, because then I know we're gonna ban him from the comments after this for spreading misinformation.
Bro, Michael, I love you, bro. Like, we're Notre Dame family, but you're like making. This is why Michigan fans hate Notre Dame fans,
Absolutely,
because they be saying some wild shit, and it's like that. I don't even agree with half the stuff that Michael said.
man. You can't spread this sort of misinformation and then just run around in the comment section. Just a mad Notre Dame.
Michael, a Michigan hater. Michael is just a mid-ND troll.
Oh my god, man!
They are on his head right now.
I think he must have left. He must have left. He's not responding. I was waiting for you. I was waiting for this response to this Penn State Wisconsin Big Ten championship game.
Bro, I don't even think Penn State or Wisconsin are making the Big Ten title.
I mean, look, Penn State has a shot. I'll give
Penn
them
State
a shot.
has a shot, but I think they split with Ohio State and Michigan.
Right. I mean,
So
it's no way
I
they're
think
beating both of them.
Yeah, I
Here we
don't
go.
think
I don't
that's the
respect
thing.
or care about Michigan. You stop bending over for these skunk bears. What? I don't respect or care about Michigan. Bending over. Are you insinuating? Are you? Man. Anyway, how you don't? I'm speechless.
Phil's speechless. I think that's the first time.
Wait, what? Bro, this is skunk bear. I'm so confused. I'm a little worried, but
They
anyway,
got you flabbergasted, Phil.
I gotta get out of here on that note, bro. Ryan, tell the people what you've got coming up.
So I'm gonna be, once I get my computer set up, fixed up, because it's being all laggy and stuff. I'm gonna come out with a edit for a specific Michigan player. I'm not gonna spill the secret sauce, but me and Phil will talk about it more. And so be on the lookout for that. And I'll come out with other player edits as well. And then within the next few months here, I'm going to start pumping out, Michigan 2023 season pump up. And like I said, Phil can vouch for me. The one I did last year was fire.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to be doing those for every team. So be on the lookout for that, as well as also me in the next few weeks. Me and the Weeks Zero Podcast boys are going through each conference, starting with the ACC on Friday, from worst
This upcoming,
to best.
like this Friday.
Yes, Friday.
Okay.
We're going to start with the ACC, so we're doing the worst conference to the best and doing a conference breakdown. So Friday, we got Notre Dame and the ACC.
Shout out to Seth.
And then we're doing I think it's the Big 12, and then we'll be doing the Big 10 here in the next couple of weeks. So, and Phil will be joining us for that as well. So be on the lookout for that. But anyways, if you guys can, go over Weeks Zero Productions on YouTube, give us a follow, subscribe, hit that like button. I appreciate any support you guys can give.
Absolutely. Be sure to follow me on Twitter. You see it down there at Maize Madman. Follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. Brian, I don't know if you saw, but I put a couple shorts up of just some of the conversation. I've cut a couple conversations we have had, and those are up now. And you can follow me on TikTok and other places like that at Maize Madman to see those shorts. We're gonna figure out what's got up Michael Campbell's crawl this week, because he's clearly having a bad day today. Maybe next Wednesday he'll be in a better mood. Either way, next week we should have another guest. I'm going to save it for midweek, so I know that it's locked in. But we will have another guest as of right now next week.
You're gonna
Anyway,
hit me up
until
with who
next
that is
time.
because I don't even know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll let you know.
right.
Until next time. Stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.